welcome back to the table. It's not table, the couch. It's Amy with Notes from Past Amy. I'm so used to being at the table, but I'm doing another tag today, and it's the 17 Eat Questions, and I figured we'd hang out on the couch again. Hopefully I remembered all the things that I needed to bring over here. I have started this video multiple times, and something always happens. Get interrupted majorly, it's not run out of storage. I don't know, the camera just is like, stop talking, cuts me off. I pulled on the cord because you're on the charger, and it had a very adventurous overturn, which I didn't feel like editing, so lots of things can happen. Hopefully this is my last take. 17 Eat Questions. Yes, okay, so here we go. 10th time saying all this stuff, but your first time hearing it. This tag originated on a blog by Dime Novel Raven, posted on January 17th, the 17 Eat Questions. So I will tag that in the description box, and you can go check it out if you want the original post. There have been other places that have done this tag already. Pen Chalet for Your Enjoyment episode, I think it was 8, that aired on Valentine's Day. That's where I originally saw it. Maria Rousseau, Chris Sains, Lau of Kenshin Crafts, all linked below because they have done great jobs on this as well. Usually these videos are 30 to 60 minutes. I'm going to aim for 30, but that means I really have to stay on topic. So here we go. I can get chatty. You probably know that. 17 Ink Questions. What was your first memorable ink? Well, let's open this again. I have several memorable first inks for different reasons. This one's memorable because I didn't buy it for fountain pens. I bought it to refill brush pens. Diamine, not diamine. Platinum, carbon black. We're moving on. Number 2. This was my first, wow, that's prettier than I thought it was going to be. Diamine Autumn Oak, and then I actually rebought this because for some reason, even though I've been using it consistently, I forgot I had it and bought another 30 mils of it. So this is the only one I've accidentally bought twice. This one, you've probably heard me mention it before. I still don't know how to pronounce it. Diamine Syrah is what we're going to go with today. It's too red, but we tried to be friends for a long time. That one stands out. 23, we didn't have very long, we being my son and I. Here we go. It ran out very quickly. Diatramentis Pearlescent Cyan Blue, Cyan Blue Copper. You'd think I know after trying to record this so many times. But yeah, it's a long name. And I think cyan should be enough, but it's called Cyan Blue. So here we go. Cyan is one of my son's favorite colors. Cyan and black. And he adores this ink. Now he has to use Diamine's Night Sky. Oh, I'm surprised I have a card of that, but I must have started this really early on. And here's the other one that stands out, Ancient Copper. For some reason, I didn't see this in the 30 ml list of bottles from Colt Pens, and I bought the 80 ml because everyone raved about it, and it's like, oh, surely I can use 80 mils. It's such an amazing color. It's too brown. I hate this color. But I have 80 mils, so if you need a sample, let me know. Those are the ones that stand out. What's my favorite ink bottle design? Which is my favorite to use? Well, it depends on what I'm using it for. If it's for a pen, as long as the opening is big enough, I don't mind it at all because nothing is low enough that I'm having trouble. So take that with a grain of salt. But what's my favorite to use for other things? I use ink bottles for a lot of things. I have, I don't know if I should say a lot. Quite a few, though, empty bottles that I use for various things. I like these for putting my mixes into. These are the Sailor 20 mil thing. I don't know, I always take the labels off as soon as I get them and clean them and use them for my own inks. So I kind of forget, but I think these are 20 mil. That has 12 mils in it right now, or 11 because I just filled a pen. This is a Lamy Crystal, and I love this one for the Q-tips, cotton swabs, whatever you want to call them, because they stick out halfway. And it's just really easy to grab them in the middle then. You can put them back this way. Use both sides. It's kind of cute. You can fit a lot in here because it has a really large mouth. And the triangular shape is quite charming. So, yeah, I love that one for that use. I have 2 of these on the table. It's the Edelstein bottle. Nice and weighted. These have water, like a wash-rinse type of situation. So they never had whatever color it says in my collection because I bought them empty. But I love using these for water. Another one I almost used for water was the Graf von Faber-Castell. It's a nice, hefty one, but that one is upstairs now being used for plant babies, along with Cross, Anderillium, Palette Iroshizuku, and maybe a couple others that I've forgotten. Yeah, I've started quite a few plant babies this year, and they look really great, and like they fit really well. And actually, I prefer the smaller openings for the plants because usually you just have them on a little stem, and that keeps the leaves and things up out of the water. So I have kind of a love for all the ink bottles, just depending on what I'm doing with it. These ones I have not found a great use for. So if I have a least favorite ink design, it's this one. Ink bottle design, ink carrier, holder, whatever you want to call these. Are they ink bottles? They're just like vials, and they're glass, and they have tiny, tiny openings, and I know they're called chargers and they're supposed to be cute, but they are a pain. So thank you, Ferris Wheel Press, for making samples, but the changer design, they're awful. These are iffy. Talking about small bottles, these do get treated like bottles because they don't fit in my sample storage, and they're iffy to fill from, so it's kind of hit and miss. Same with the Diamine 30 mils. And then samples. The bigger the grips get, the harder they are to fill in the samples. So I still love having empty ones of these for mixing and such, but for filling, maybe not always the best. The grip fits, it's great, but as I get more larger grip pens, which is my aim, these kind of get less practical for filling. So yeah, that's where I stand on the bottles or ink containers. What's an ink I love but would not use for everyday writing? If it's an ink I love, it's probably from one of these color families, and I'm going to use it. If it's too dark, I will try mixing it. If it's too light, I will mix it. I will make it usable. If it's from one of those color families, I want to love it, and I'm going to use it. How do I discover new inks? How do I not discover new inks? Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, currently inked, new product videos, ambassador things, newsletters, so it comes through email. Your devices know what you like, so the algorithm shows you ads and new products, and there is no shortage. Discord. There's so many ways. So many ways. Do I use inks for anything other than writing? Not usually. Usually it's Zentangle, transcribing, practicing lettering, some doodling. I bought a pen for doodling. See, here's the deal. This is why I'm not practicing doodling. It's a Sailor 1911S. Yes, it's tiny, kind of adorable, very classic. It's the black and gold. And it had a zoom nib. So it was going to be perfect. As long as I liked the nib, then I would look at upgrading it and blah, 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 blah. But my son has stolen that pen. The Night Sky I mentioned earlier, that is in pen because I first tried it with gray, and now I need something black for the doodles. I just wanted that like cutesy, chubby, kind of marker-like outline. That's my piece of popcorn, by the way. And I liked it. You can alter the angle and get different widths of line. So it's perfect for doodling. And the black with the shimmer was like a good color, and my son found it, and it's kind of his pen now. So yeah, a little bit of doodling, but pretty much my son has that pen now. So what do I do with inks that's unusual? Well, the most unusual thing I've done is dyeing craft text. Yep, just pouring the ink on and like moving the fabric around. I've also, I think I used a syringe to get the ink on there, and then I used the plastic bag technique that was popular sometime last year for making the little splatters, and I moved the ink around that way. And then the last thing I did, because I've done this 3 times, was I made alcohol inks, and I just sprayed them on directly. And a couple of my projects are right here. This one started with white craft text, and I'm trying to remember which ink I used. It's in a personal video, which is not public, that's why it's personal. I don't remember. I know it was a Diamine Ink series ink, but I can't remember if it was Vivaldi or Hondo. It's one I don't like using in a pen. That's how I picked the colors that I was going to use for the alcohol inks. Macassar, was a big contributor here. I don't remember what other colors I used. It's in my history. And see, I don't know what went wrong to make this big spot, but this was the first one I did, and it started with natural Craftex. But aren't these cool? Even though I have the band on backwards, and this is hanging. Yeah, see, hanging backwards. There we go. I'll just pretend. These are really cool, and that's the most unusual thing I've done with the ink. More to come. I have more ideas, but that's the only one that's been executed, and I can show you. What's an ink that's worth hoarding? Nothing I have. I have a few mils of Parker Penman Sapphire, and that's probably my most irreplaceable ink, but I use what I have. If I don't love it, I mix it together and make something I do love, and I use it. How do you choose which ink goes into a pen? Do they have to match? Do you always use the same ink in a particular pen? Well, it depends on the pen, because some pens and inks are permanent pairs, especially if they're lever fillers. Others just stick to the same color family, because if I mix up the pen and the ink and like they don't go together in my mind, then I'm never going to remember what's in that pen, and I will think that pen has a certain color, and I will choose it for that color, and then it will write a different color, and then I will not be happy because it's messed up whatever I was doing. So here's a few that are permanently matched. Lever fillers. This is the 92 Waterman, which means it's celluloid, and it has a manifold nib. Yeah, Waterman, manifold nib. And I always use Nude Leprechaun in here. It looks fantastic. It writes great. I don't have to clean it. Same with this one. This is the 52. And it has a lever filler, of course. And it always has Golden Sands by my Shimmertastic. Love that series so much. Another 52. I think this one's discolored because this part's black. It always has Tropical Glow in it. Now, the other one in this case is not a specific ink. It is a specific color. Guess what color? Yes, pink. Because if it's not pink, I'm never going to remember what color's in here. And I like writing with pink. So I made this color in an effort to have a beautiful shimmery pink that's not too orange, that's not too red, that's shimmery. And I think it's going to be really nice, but it looks like it's also going to be really wet. I'm not used to this paper. This is the first time I've used this paper, but look, it went right through. Now, it's a flex nib, so you have to watch that anyway, but this one seems really wet. Usually the writing is slimmer. Even when I wrote a line in my Stylogy, it was a lot wider than I expected, and it went through the page. I don't think it actually bled, but there was severe ghosting, which doesn't usually happen to me in my Stylogy. So, not sure what I'm going to do on the back of that page, or if I'm just going to have to skip it, and lesson learned, but I'm not used to avoiding certain pen ink combos in my Stylogy, so that's going to be something I'm working through. But the rest, most of the rest of my pens, I do have a couple more permanent matches, but most of the rest of them get the color I expect to see out of it based on the nib. If it's an extra fine, it gets a standard ink. If it's a fine, it gets a shimmer trial run, and then depending on what happens, it either sticks with standards or it gets shimmers, and everything else automatically gets shimmers. Medium, stub nibs, special grinds, like everything else just gets shimmer because I love shimmer inks. And the other two questions I use, so nib size, what color do I expect to come out of this pen? Have I used this ink in the pen before? Now, this one I didn't have to look up because I just made it, so I knew I didn't have the color used before. But usually I go to the page for that nib. I used to have it by pen, but then it's by nib now. So this is nib number 36 on this pink pen here. And when it moves to a different body that's a little more grip friendly for me, I will keep it as number 36 because this nib is tracked here on number 36. And then I write down what date it was, what pen body I'm using, and then what color is in it. Why do I write the pen body? Because originally I started the number thing with a pen body. So that part has just continued. The other thing I check is I will I'll write it down here. And then I'll go back a few pages. Well, usually I go back before I ink it, but I hadn't used this one before. And so I didn't even have to go back a few pages and make sure it's not in anything else. Because I don't want Faber-Castell's Electric Pink, that's on the page before it, in 2 pens at once. Heaven forbid it be in 3 pens at once. I want different pinks in each pink pen. So I would do a quick check, back a couple pages, 3 pages, depending on how much I'd ink recently, and make sure it's not in anything else. So those are the 4 questions I use, and that's how I ink up a pen, unless it's a permanent match. Do I use ink samples? Well, yeah, if they're the right price, sure. Is it to find an ink I want to buy, or just to get a smaller amount of ink to use? Well, it can also be because the bottle that you fill this from takes quite a bit of agitating before it's ready to fill, and I've started using this color in a pen right here. It's this one right here, and it looks amazing. It's like those old glitter gel pens, you know, where it's like all glitter. Yes. So I've got a couple of these that are samples, but they're for me to refill the pen because it's a lot easier to mix this up and have it ready for use than the entire 16 ml jar. So I use samples for that. I use samples in swaps. I've sold some samples, making them from like ancient copper, where I have a whole jar, like here, someone who wants some 4 mils for $1 type of thing. So I've done that. But when buying them, it's usually a sample pack because those are the best value. I'm always looking at price per mil. So if I can get a sample for a 1/4 mil, yes, a 1/4 mil or less, then I might probably spring for a sample. If it's more than that, $3 for a 4 mil sample, not going to happen. I will find a way to mix that color myself, or if it's offered to me in a swap, I'll go ahead and get it that way or whatever. But this is how I store them, and I number everything when it comes in. So it goes onto a list in my phone. The next ink gets the next number. I started at 1000, as you saw with the Platinum Carbon Black. That's number 1, because 1000 is where I started. And then going from there, everything is sequential. So it gets put in my phone, where I got it from, how much I got, how much I paid for it, when it was. And then when it comes in, it gets its number sticker on the top, usually for the bottles as well. And then it gets put in my drawer here. And this antique drawer thing that I have, it's a 4-drawer unit. I don't know how old it is or anything about it, but here's the front. It's very cool looking. And it fits perfectly 4 boxes. And then my little annoying chargers here, and then a pen case because I just needed to put it somewhere. And it works really well for a divider. So yeah, everything is in there by number. So it's easy to find, and we'll talk more about that later, but those are the samples. That's how I store them. Is my goal to find an ink I want a bottle of, or just to get a smaller amount? Usually just to try the ink, but I don't intentionally choose red or brown, more orange, because, and I'm kind of particular in greens. If it's a sample thing, like whatever, I'll take whatever I get, but I don't intentionally choose those because I've already gone through red and brown, the samples, or cheap bottles. Like I found some on Reddit that was just made more sense to buy that bottle on Reddit than it did to buy a sample. So I've explored red and brown, and I found what I like. I have my permanent pairings. Not really looking to explore those anymore. I don't use orange, so like, don't really care. It sounds awful, but I just don't. What was the other one I mentioned? Did I mention 4? Or were there only 3? Oh, I'm particular about greens, yeah. Because I don't want my green to be too brown, and I don't want it to be too yellow. And like, I have this specific color of green. I'll show it to you when we get to the swatching and cataloging inks. But you can see which kind of green I like. And if it's not that kind of green, I'm probably not going to use it, so why have a sample of it? But purples, aquas, teals, shimmer, non-shimmer, different brands, like, yeah, anything, everything. I'll try it all. Oh my. Did I answer that? I sure hope so. We're going on to number 9. Is there a popular ink that's not from me? What underhyped ink would I like to see more people try? Well, in a nutshell, number 28, remember that ancient copper? Overhyped. We'll never use that 80 mils. Probably will just list samples or see if people want extra samples when I'm doing swaps or whatever, and share the copper. And then, what underhyped ink would I like to see more people try? Anything Shimmertastic. I love that series. It flows so well. They are such great colors. Just, people use that. It's so amazing and so affordable when you order it from Colt Pens. They're great. More people should use them. I never hear people talk about them, but they are fantastic. What do I do with unused ink when I clean a pen? I don't. This had a color that was quite orange last time. Cozy Up. See how orange that is? Did I like it? No. Did I use it? Yep. And I didn't hate it. It wasn't the best. I won't do it again. But I used it because I had the ink and it's just a sample and maybe it will grow on me. It didn't, but you know. I used to give ink 2 weeks. Back when I first started, I would fill the converter half full and give it 2 weeks. If I did make it to the end of 2 weeks and there was something left, it wasn't very much. So that, you know, just goodbye. But usually I'll just use it. Even if I don't absolutely love it, I'll just use it and then look for something else next time. Or in this case, I got tired of looking for the right thing. See all these colors that just weren't what I was looking for? So I'm in my own. Hopefully you have a better time. What's the most unique ink you've ever used or seen? Probably the Monteverde color changing. I think we're all saying this because those are the most unique inks I've ever seen. How do you catalog, swatch, track, and store your inks? Okay, so I touched on this earlier. When I get a new ink, it goes in the giant phone note list, the number of the ink, because it's sequential, so if it's coming in, I even catalog. You can see here, CC16, that's custom color number 16. I just number them sequentially because that makes sense to me. And then it'll say where I got it from, blah, 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 as I told you earlier. And they're just a giant list. I'll also put that in Fountain Pen Companion because it makes it a lot easier for swaps. Then it gets its sticker, and I use it. If it's a sample, it goes in its box. I use it in different ways. This one here has my writing project, so I'll put it in a pen, and I will do a page. Wherever my scripture stops, that's where I stop, and I'll pick it up mid-sentence or mid-verse or whatever next time. And I learned pretty early on, these are both like aquateals, so they make more sense in person than they do on the camera. But in the beginning, I had, see, and these are like both bluey colors. If they're really off, purples, I forget what happened there, but that's Foxglove and it's gorgeous. That if the colors really don't match, like red and green, that bothers me. These are both browns. This one's iffy. It's a blue and a teal. So, yeah. Those are both browns. Those are fine. Both purples. Good. There's a couple pages like this. Blue and green. I don't do that anymore. I will wait till I have something that looks okay. This is alright with the teal and blue. That doesn't bother me a whole lot. Oh, this is a dark bluey purple, and this is a dark more purple. This one bothers me. The green and the purple. Yeah. So I have a transcription project. I've done all of Romans, all of Proverbs, and half of 1 Corinthians. Still on the same book. And usually I only do each one once, not twice. I did the last one twice, but I didn't mean to. I'll just pick a pen with the ink that I think will look lovely together and just use that. What happens, happens. And then check, I've done my writing. Oh, I forgot to mention that. I have physical sheets where I write the number and what ink it is, like the brand and color name and such. And then I'll have a column for my writing project so that I can see, if I look up that number, I can see where it is that I did my writing sample. And then I'll mark if I've done the card. I do the same Zentangle pattern for every card. And I have, my swatch is, and comparison. And those are all in here. So this is my new gallery. This is my teal gallery. So anything that's not like a sapphire school blue, boring blue, as my son labels them, goes in this turquoise teal category. And then I have Wearingeul paper. All this paper is different paper. So Wearingeul paper for the swatches. That's my swatch column on that spreadsheet. And then I have a C that I make in one of those columns for, which one did I say I was going to show you? Oh, the green, for comparisons. So let's go back to the greens. Here we go. This is the kind of green I like. And I do all of this with the same pen. This is the acrylic ink swatcher for all of these like solid bits. And I make comparison. Yep. And I only do those with the colors that like make sense to be together. This is my magenta category. These are my magentas. Because in my mind, pink, magenta, and coral are all different. So that's how they are in here. For the comparisons, like they're sectioned out that way. Actually, I think all the sections are discussed. Oh well, whatever. This is rather detailed and complicated, not probably needs its own video, but thank you, Lisa Pearson, for giving the idea of putting different papers in here, because my galleries and comparisons are done on Stylogy paper. And then I have the Wearingeul paper. Of course, things get documented in here. This is like 160 GSM something something. This is Happy Planner paper. This is some sort of cheap, I don't know, paper. This is I don't even know paper. Like, I use everything. And I like to have different samples on different stuff. And I know it's way more than I realized when I first recorded this, but I've gotten used to it now that I've recorded this a million times. So that's just what I do. And I'm okay with that. By the time I've done that kind of stuff, then I know if I want it in a pen or if I'm just ready to pass it on, and it's working for me. So there you go. Swatching, storing, tracking, blah, blah, blah. What's your favorite ink color family? These right here. These are my favorite ink colors or color families. This is Memory Lane. I looked it up. This is the one I just mixed. And then we've got the Private Reserve Pearlescent. This is the turquoise silver. So, very pretty. Love those categories. If I had to pick one, probably purple, but I want them all. I have all of them represented in every pen case for a reason. What ink-related tool or accessory can you not live without? This guy here. I made a little list when I picked this. I was like, well, you can do this and this and this and this. So I just wrote them down so I would not forget. What things you can do. Syringe. You can make samples. Anyone want to buy some ancient copper? You can take it from the sample to an ink visor, which I need to try. I have one that came in my Platinum Carbon Black, so I know you can do it. I've never actually done it, but you can. So there you go, another use. You can fill an eyedropper pen. Yep. You can use it for mixing inks. Now this one doesn't have any markings on it because I didn't think of this in time, I guess. But if you put clear nail polish over your markings, you will not wash them away like I have done on this one. And the ones that you see in my videos have sparkly nail polish because it's what I had at the time, and I'm happy to have the markings, but I do not recommend using glitter nail polish. Don't do it. Even though it has a clear base, just don't do it. Go get some cheap clear nail polish because it's so much easier to read, especially if you're trying to record and you have lights glaring and that beautiful shimmer is just reflecting all the light and you cannot read what you have preserved. So just get some clear nail polish, okay? Just get some clear nail polish. But yes, mixing inks. You can clean converters. I use this for cleaning converters all the time. Or you can clean a cartridge, or you can fill a cartridge. So multi-purpose tool would not be without these. I have a set of 5, constantly cleaning them because I'm using them for, you know, various things. I think the ink syringe. Have I ever mixed inks or used shimmer additive? Oh, by the way, have I mentioned this in this video yet? Yes, I mix inks. Did I use the same brand for this one? No, I did not, now that I think about it. Oops, oh well. Sometimes I do, and sometimes, clearly, I don't. This one, I mixed a shimmer ink with something else. I did not add extra shimmer. When I do add shimmer, I have the I have 3 of the Pannonia shimmer additives. I have silver gold and dark purple, and I use those. I have a little one of these. These come in different sizes. These are 5 ml. These, I brought one to show you. I have a pack of 5 of these, and they're 5 ml. But I also have one that's kind of the same length, but much, much thinner. And if you fill it all the way up, it's 1 ml. So it's marked every 1/10 of a ml, and that's what I use to add my shimmer additive, because I make recipes of all these because I'm nuts and I catalog everything to an inch of its life. So yes, I definitely pick the ink syringe, and I definitely mix my own inks. What's my favorite ink delivery system? Whatever gets the ink page combination without any stress. Most of them are cartridge converter. A few of them are lever filler, and I have 2, because I have 3 lever and 2 piston. The rest of them are cartridge converter. So as far as cleaning goes, the lever fillers are probably my least favorite because you can't see through the ink sac thing that's in here, but I'll make whatever work. I probably prefer the cartridge converters, but I'll deal with what I have. As long as it gets the ink onto the page. Yeah, I know what my least favorite one is. You want to know what that is? I know you didn't ask, but it just came to mind. I tried a long time to have an eyedropper pen. No. I don't know if part of it's the climate up here, but constantly hard started. It was always burping. It never leaked. But hard starts and burping was just no. Retired that thing so fast. That's my least favorite delivery system. Don't like it at all. What inks am I excited about right now? This one. I have to test it because it is seeming quite wet. The other one, I just inked this up. I've tried Memory Lane before and it came out so gray, but this is looking promising with the purple ink. It's coming out as a more purple ink, but this body, it just seems to work so much better with the FPR nib than this body. I mean, they both work, and once you get the ink going, you're fine. But this one, once you finish using it, or even, okay, so once you finish using the ink that's in the feed, you might be mid-session. Once you finish the ink in the feed, you have to take it apart and reprint it. And if you're coming to it from not having used it, even if it was writing fine when you put it down, you're going to have to reprint. Like, it's how this body works, and I love the nib, so I've dealt with it for over a year. This one I dealt with for almost a year. This is the pink. This is the purple. They used to have matching bodies, but the purple one, the body, no, it's retired. Let me know if you want to see it, but it's retired for a reason. And I got this pen about the same time that the purple body of this, it just, like fell apart. So I put the nib into here. It fit the housing, and it's so much better. I don't know if I've ever had to prime this. I just went through a converter, was it Deck the Halls, I think? It was a diamine ink, and it had shimmer, and this is diamine ink. It has shimmer. It's another purple. I don't know that I had to prime it at all. I think it started going dry a couple of times, and I just turned it over and like wrote reverse for a few. I don't know if it was even a few, maybe just a couple strokes, and then flipped it back over, and we were going again. So I've been really impressed with this body. The other body that I've gotten recently and been really impressed with, its non-dry out. Is that a thing? Not drying out. Qualities is the Abigail Markov. I wasn't sure when it was the, it's kind of the same shape, except this part right here is metal. You've got the grip and then metal threads, and it goes onto the acrylic cap. I haven't had no dry out issues with that one either. So I'm tempted to put a flex nib back on there. Actually, I want to put one of these flex nibs in there. This specific one with the tropical glow, I think that would look so cool. But you can't put this nib and housing into a Yovo 6. So I'm working on that. But I think the body makes a difference, and I know the nib makes a difference in pen. So I'm really happy I've given this ink another try. That was not on my list or any of my other videos. But anyway, yeah, I'm excited for this one because I think this combo is going to be much better than the pen I had it in before. This color, we've talked about this. Shimmery, pink. Afraid it's going to be a little bit too wet, but we'll see what happens. And then this Private Reserve Pearlescent Turquoise Silver in the Benu Ocean Breeze, the one with the like darker purple, blue purple center sparkles, of course, silver sparkles, and then the glowing ends. It's so cool. It's so cool. And it seems to be writing well, so I just inked that a few days ago. Pretty excited about that. I know that's more than one ink, but when I can find really nice shimmers in the colors I love, I'm very excited. So that's what I'm excited about right now. Oh, good, it has S in parentheses. What inks are you excited about right now? Those are the ones. 36 minutes. Okay, I have talked too long. I need to start thinking about dinner and such, but you will see this hopefully on the 19th of March 2024, or later if you watch it later. I will get all this cleaned up. Talk to you again next week. Hopefully you've enjoyed, learned something, enjoyed hanging out, whatever. I'll see you then. Take care. Bye.